There comes a sacred moment in every life when heaven whispers, "It is done." You may not have seen the sign yet, but something has already shifted in your favor. The movement began in the unseen, in consciousness, and now the visible world must obey. Your life is not governed by chance, but by divine design. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment was never meant to destroy you. It was calibrating you. You were being refined for this moment, where everything that once seemed against you now bends toward your good. The shift didn't begin when circumstances changed. It began when you changed within. When you stopped praying for proof and began resting in faith. When you stopped rehearsing lack and started embodying abundance. That's when heaven moved. That's when the script of your reality began to rewrite itself. Right now, even as you listen, the universe is rearranging the stage of your life. Conversations are being divinely orchestrated. People you haven't met yet are being positioned. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach are being magnetized to your name. You are no longer striving for manifestation. You are resting in fulfillment. The miracle isn't coming someday. It's already on the way, vibrating toward you. Feel it. Believe it. Rest in the knowing that what's yours cannot be lost. What you have imagined in faith must become flesh. What you have felt as true must reveal itself in your world. Stop looking for signs and start living as if it's already done. The outer world is only a mirror reflecting your inner assumption. So when you walk in certainty, the world must yield. The moment you declare, "It's already mine," the universe bows to that decree. The favor of God has shifted your direction. The tide has turned in your name. Every closed door was simply divine redirection. Every ending a setup for your next elevation. So stand still and know you are already in the flow of answered prayer. What once felt like resistance is now releasing into grace. The season has changed. The atmosphere has shifted. And the evidence will soon surround you. Your only task now is to remain in the state of fulfillment, to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to act, speak, and breathe as if the miracle has already landed, because in truth, it has. What's unfolding for you is not random, it's revelation. Heaven has already whispered yes, and the echo of that yes is about to thunder through your reality. The shift is done, the miracle is moving, and everything is now working in your favor. The invisible shift has already happened. Long before your senses could recognize any evidence, a divine rearrangement took place in the unseen. What you are witnessing in your outer world is merely the echo of what has already been established within. Every transformation, every blessing, every breakthrough begins not with what you can touch or see, but with what you have chosen to believe and feel as true. The outer world is a mirror. It reflects. It doesn't create. The cause of all visible change lies in the invisible realm of consciousness. The moment you changed your inner conversation, the moment you dared to see yourself as favored, healed, chosen, and abundant, the shift began. Reality started bending itself around your new assumption. You may not have recognized it at first because the old condition still seemed loud, But make no mistake, once the internal alignment occurs, the external world has no choice but to follow. The invisible shift is the real event. The visible manifestation is only the delayed response. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not see immediate growth above ground. Yet, beneath the surface, an invisible process is already underway. Roots are spreading, structure is forming, and life is preparing to emerge. The same is true for your desires. The unseen realm of imagination and faith is the fertile ground where your new reality is germinating. The fact that you do not yet see it means nothing. The seed has taken root. The invisible work is complete. And what's been decreed in spirit must eventually reveal itself in matter. This is why you can rest. You no longer need to strive, chase, or force outcomes. You need only to remain faithful to the unseen truth that the shift has already occurred. Everything you desire already exists in potential form, and your belief is the bridge that calls it into visibility. The universe does not respond to need, it responds to knowing. When you know it is done, life begins to echo that knowing through events, people, and opportunities perfectly timed for your path. The invisible shift is a sacred reminder that reality is not fixed. It's fluid, responsive, and alive. You are the center of creation, shaping it moment by moment through your awareness. When you hold the feeling of fulfillment, when you dwell in the end of your desire and see from it rather than toward it, you are walking in divine authority. The unseen is already bowed to your assumption. The outer world is simply catching up. So release the urge to check for progress. Stop asking when and start declaring now. The change you've been praying for has already occurred in the only place that truly matters. Everything else is the echo, the ripple, the visible confirmation of an invisible shift that heaven has already sealed in your favor. You are now in divine alignment. Life itself is quietly rearranging to match the new frequency of your belief. Every detail, every encounter, every circumstance is being orchestrated with precision to reflect the shift that has occurred within you. You have entered a state where your inner conviction has become the command that the universe must obey. What once felt chaotic or uncertain is now revealing its hidden order. Everything is working in harmony with the truth you have accepted about yourself and your destiny. When you align with faith, you no longer move through life as a seeker, trying to make things happen. You move as a creator, allowing what's meant for you to find its perfect way. The energy you carry is the language through which the universe listens and responds. As you elevate your belief, you elevate your frequency, and that new vibration calls forth matching experiences. You don't chase them, they begin to flow toward you. People appear, doors open, and timing becomes effortless because the outer world must organize itself according to the inner command of your belief. Divine alignment does not mean everything looks perfect immediately. It means that everything, even what seems uncomfortable, is now serving your higher good. What was once resistance is now redirection. What seemed delayed is now being perfectly timed. The very situations that once frustrated you are being rewritten to favor your growth and manifestation. This is the sacred dance of alignment, not control, but cooperation with divine order. You may not see the full picture yet, but the pattern is forming beautifully beneath the surface. The unseen realm has already responded to your new state of consciousness. Your prayers, your affirmations, your inner knowing have sent a signal that heaven could not ignore. Life is not against you. It is adjusting itself to reflect the truth that you have dared to believe. You are no longer aligned with fear or lack. You are aligned with abundance, peace, and purpose. Every divine alignment begins with an inner shift, a quiet yes to faith. That yes is powerful enough to move worlds. It is the moment when you stop doubting and start trusting that what is unfolding is not random but intentional. When you hold the feeling of completion, life must respond with completion. When you live as though it's already done, every path, person, and possibility begins to move in agreement with your assumption. You are now walking in rhythm with divine timing. There is no more struggle, no more striving, only alignment. The universe is fluent in the language of your belief, and your new vibration has already called forth experiences of favor, peace, and fulfillment. Everything you need is on its way, drawn magnetically by the frequency of your faith. Rest in this truth. Life is not falling apart, it's falling into place. You are now in divine alignment, and everything is moving beautifully in your favor. Miracles are not accidents or rare interventions reserved for a chosen few. They are the natural consequence of unwavering faith. The moment you begin to dwell in the feeling of already having what you desire, you set into motion an unseen power that cannot fail. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is the quiet certainty that what you have imagined is already yours. It is the inner rest that knows the outcome is settled, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. When that level of faith takes root, life must conform. The outer world is compelled to rearrange itself in obedience to the inner conviction. True faith does not beg or plead. It assumes and rests. It is the sacred posture of the soul that declares it is done and lives from that reality. When you live in the end, when you emotionally and mentally occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, you become the embodiment of your answered prayer. Life, being a mirror of your inner state, reflects it back through opportunities, synchronicities, and outcomes that align perfectly with your belief. Miracles are not violations of natural law. They are the higher law of faith manifesting through you. The world calls it impossible because it cannot see the unseen cause. But faith operates from another dimension. It speaks to the unseen as though it were visible, and by doing so it compels the unseen to become seen. What you believe and feel as real and your imagination must one day stand before you in the physical. Every miracle begins with an assumption, an inner acceptance that the desire is already fulfilled. When you hold that feeling with consistency, when you refuse to be swayed by appearances, you become a vessel for divine power to flow through. You no longer wait for proof to believe. You believe and therefore create proof. The unseen responds instantly, though the outer world reveals it gradually. Yet the timing never matters. When you live from the end, because your heart already knows it's complete. Faith is not about effort. It's about awareness. It's about remaining conscious of the truth that the miracle is already yours. Even when circumstances appear unchanged, faith whispers, I know what I have seen within. And that inner seeing is more real than any physical evidence. The world you see is the echo of past belief. The world you are feeling now is the prophecy of what is to come. So dwell in the feeling of already having. See yourself as already healed, already provided for, already restored. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of completion. Let that energy radiate through your being until it becomes your natural state. In that moment, you are in perfect harmony with divine law. And miracles will not only happen to you, they will happen through you. For faith is creation, and to live in faith is to live in the miraculous. The doors that closed were never rejections, they were redirections. Every ending you faced was not the collapse of your destiny, but the careful editing of it. Life, in its divine intelligence, knew that certain paths could not carry the magnitude of the blessing designed for you. What you thought was loss was actually liberation. The door that shut did not block your future, it protected it. You were being guided, refined, and positioned for greater alignment with the favor that now seeks expression in your life. When a season ends, the human tendency is to mourn what's gone, to question why things had to fall apart. But what if nothing fell apart? What if everything fell into divine order? Sometimes heaven must close what you were willing to settle for to make room for what you were truly created for. Those doors that seemed so promising but suddenly shut were never punishment, they were preservation. The universe knew what you couldn't yet see, that your expansion required release. Every divine edit, though painful, was purposeful. You were being rewritten for elevation. The story that once defined you could no longer hold the depth of who you are becoming. Endings have a way of feeling final, but in truth, they are thresholds, the quiet preparation for resurrection. When something leaves your life, it creates the sacred space needed for something greater to arrive. The moment you stop fighting the closure, you begin to see the wisdom within it. The relationship that ended, the job that dissolved, the opportunity that slipped away, each was a divine punctuation mark. Not the end of your story, but a pause before the next chapter. Those moments of confusion were really moments of construction. While you were questioning what went wrong, life was rearranging what could finally go right. You were being aligned with higher purpose, greater fulfillment, and deeper peace. Understand this, divine favor often hides behind disruption. What you call endings, heaven calls openings. Every rejection carried the hidden message. There is more prepared for you. The universe doesn't take from you to punish. It removes to multiply. Sometimes the weight of the old must be lifted, so your hands are free to receive the new. You are not who you were when those doors closed. You have evolved, expanded, and awakened. You now stand at the threshold of greater opportunity because the old chapters made you ready. What left your life created the exact vacancy that favor needed to fill. So bless the doors that closed, for they were acts of divine mercy. Bless the endings, for they made space for new beginnings. Nothing was lost, only exchanged for something higher. The story of your life is being rewritten with grace, and every so-called ending was a divine edit, preparing you for the beautiful chapter of favor that is now unfolding before you. In this, you don't chase what is already yours. You align with it through awareness. The moment you assume it is done, the universe begins its quiet, miraculous work of bringing it into visibility. Everything you desire is not outside of you, waiting to be pursued. It already exists in the unseen field of potential. What brings it into your experience is not effort, struggle, or striving, but conscious awareness of its reality. You attract not by action alone, but by vibration, by being in harmony with the frequency of what you desire. Chasing comes from the belief that something is missing, that you are separate from what you want. But awareness operates from the knowing that nothing is missing, that what you have imagined already exists in the invisible, and your recognition of that truth is the key that opens the door. When you assume it is done, you shift from longing to possessing, from wishing to being. In that instant, the outer world must begin to conform to the inner certainty. Life mirrors your dominant state of consciousness. When your awareness rests in lack, life echoes lack. When it rests in fulfillment, life must echo fulfillment. This is the sacred law that governs manifestation, not a mechanical process, but a spiritual alignment. The universe does not respond to force, it responds to faith. The more you chase, the more you affirm distance. The more you rest in the feeling of having, the more effortlessly you draw your desire to you. You attract through being, not begging. When your inner dialogue shifts from "I hope it happens" to "it has already happened," a vibrational match is created. Invisible threads begin to move, unseen connections form, and life starts to mirror your assumption. The right people, opportunities, and moments of divine timing begin to appear because your awareness is now a magnet for them. You are no longer looking for evidence. You are living as evidence. This is why awareness is everything. Your outer world cannot exceed the state of consciousness you occupy. The universe is not withholding anything from you. It is simply reflecting your current assumption. When you know it's done, when you feel the reality of it so deeply that it becomes natural, life rushes to make that inner conviction visible. The delay is only the time it takes for the outer to align with the inner. You were never meant to chase love, success, or peace. You were meant to become the embodiment of them. The universe cannot resist the vibration of completion. When you live in the end, it has no choice but to rearrange itself in your favor. So stop striving and start knowing. Stand in the awareness that it's already yours. The moment you do, everything you've been chasing will begin to chase you. For the universe always mirrors the consciousness of the one who dares to believe it is already done. The delay was never denial. What you perceived as waiting was actually sacred orchestration, a divine sequence of events aligning in perfect timing for your highest good. Every moment that felt like pause was preparation. Life was not withholding your blessing, it was weaving it into a masterpiece that could not be rushed. You were not being ignored, you were being refined. The universe was ensuring that when your manifestation arrived, you would not only receive it but sustain it. In the human mind, delay often feels like resistance, but in truth, it is divine timing performing its silent work. There are lessons, alignments, and unseen connections that must take place before your desire can appear in full glory. Just as a seed must rest beneath the soil before breaking through the surface, your vision needed time to root itself in spiritual depth. You may have been ready in desire, but life was ensuring you were also ready in maturity, awareness, and stability. What looks like nothing happening is often everything happening, just not yet visible. The universe does not operate on your clock. It moves in perfect harmony with divine rhythm. Each delay carried purpose. It redirected you from what was less, protected you from premature success, and strengthened your faith so you could hold greater blessings. The waiting season was not wasted. It was sacred rehearsal for fulfillment. Sometimes, if what you desired had arrived too early, it would have overwhelmed rather than blessed you. You were evolving, expanding, and awakening into the version of yourself capable of carrying that answered prayer with grace. Divine timing is never late, it is exact, arriving the moment both you and your destiny are aligned. The delay taught you patience, faith, surrender, and trust, qualities that anchor miracles into permanence. When you look back, you will see that the detours were divine paths, the pauses were protection, and the timing was perfect. Nothing was random. The conversations, the endings, the redirections, all were threads in a larger tapestry of divine coordination. The universe was not testing your endurance. It was preparing your environment and your spirit for convergence. The delay allowed you to shift from wanting to knowing. It trained your heart to rest in certainty even without evidence. That is the highest state of faith. To be so assured of the unseen that time itself loses its power to discourage you. And once that level of faith is born within, manifestation becomes inevitable. So do not resent the waiting season. It was never punishment. It was positioning. The universe was not saying no. It was saying not yet, because greater alignment is coming. What you thought was delay was actually divine synchronization. The moment you surrendered to that truth, time itself began to bend in your favor. And now everything that once seemed paused is preparing to unfold with effortless precision right on time. Your perfect appointed time. Everything that has unfolded in your life, the waiting, the shifting, the closing of doors, the unseen work, has been divine preparation for this moment. You are now standing in the vibration of fulfillment. The invisible shift has already occurred, and life is aligning itself with the new frequency of your belief. The delays were not denials. They were the universe arranging every detail in perfect order. The challenges refined you. The endings freed you. And your faith has now magnetized the miraculous. You no longer chase what is yours. You attract through awareness. Every time you rest in the knowing that it is already done, creation moves in your favor. You have entered the flow of divine alignment, where everything is working for your highest good, effortlessly, beautifully, and right on time. So stand firm in faith. Expect favor. Speak as though it's complete, because it is. The universe has heard you, and the evidence is already on its way. What was once unseen is about to become undeniable. You are living in answered prayer, and your life will now reflect the glory of that realization. Thank you for listening, and remember, your faith has already shifted everything. The miracle is not coming someday. It's unfolding now. Close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself, who am I when I have everything I desire? Not who you hope to be, not who you wish to become, but who you already are in the unseen world. The version of you that holds no doubts, no fears, no sense of lack. That is the frequency you must occupy. The greatest illusion is believing you must first achieve before you can feel. That you must first see proof before you can believe in yourself. But reality does not work this way. You are not waiting for greatness to arrive. You are not hoping that one day the world will recognize you. The moment you shift your vibration, the moment you become the best within, the world has no choice but to reflect it. How does the best version of you speak? Walk, carry themselves? Embody that now. Stop looking to see if your new life has arrived. You must be unwavering in your assumption, regardless of what your senses tell you. If you were already the best, would you doubt yourself? Would you hesitate? No. You would move with certainty. You would wake up each day knowing that the world bends to match your state of being. And that is exactly how you must live. Not in waiting, not in hoping, but in knowing. Your vibration is the key. It is not your effort, not your struggle, not your desperate attempts to force things into place. It is your state of being. When you feel it first, the world must conform. When you persist in the assumption of already being the best, nothing can deny you. The world does not respond to what you merely wish for. It responds to what you are. Your dominant vibration, the state of being you embody most consistently, determines the experiences that unfold in your life. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you hold on to, and every assumption you live by shapes the world around you, whether you realize it or not. Many people believe they must struggle, force, or chase after what they desire. They spend their days longing for success, love, or financial abundance, hoping that external circumstances will one day shift in their favor. But in doing so, they overlook the most powerful truth. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Every experience is a mirror reflecting your inner state, your deepest beliefs, and the vibration you maintain. If you constantly feel lack, if you persist in the thought that something is missing from your life, then that very sense of absence is what the world will continue to reflect back to you. When you say, "I want wealth," or "I want love," you are acknowledging that you do not yet have it. The energy behind your words and thoughts is what shapes your experience. The more you dwell in the feeling of not having, the more you perpetuate that reality. Instead of wishing for a better life, assume the state of already having it. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desires were already fulfilled. Imagine how you would walk, speak, and think if you had already arrived at your destination. When you step into that state of being, when you make it your natural vibration, the world has no choice but to align with it. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It is about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already are within. If you wish to experience confidence, you must first embody confidence. If you wish to attract abundance, you must first feel abundant within. Your external world is simply a delayed reflection of your internal state. Change the cause and the effect must follow. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for proof before they believe in their new reality. They want the money in their hands before they feel wealthy. They want the relationship before they feel loved. But this is backward thinking. The feeling must come first. You must generate the vibration before the physical world can mirror it back to you. Think of a radio station. If you wish to hear a certain frequency, you do not beg the station to change. You adjust your dial to match it. Your reality operates in the same way. Align yourself with the frequency of your desires and they must materialize. Stop asking, stop doubting, and stop waiting for external validation. Instead, become the person who already has what they seek. Shift your inner world and watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match. Everything you see in the world first existed in the unseen, within the realm of imagination. Before anything can manifest in your physical reality, it must be conceived in your mind. The thoughts you dwell upon, the images you entertain, and the emotions you cultivate shape the experiences that unfold in your life. This is not wishful thinking, it is the very foundation of creation. Many people believe they must first achieve something before they can feel a certain way. They tell themselves, once I am successful, then I will feel confident. Once I have love, then I will feel worthy. Once I have wealth, then I will feel abundant. But they fail to realize that this very mindset keeps them trapped. Reality does not work in this order. You do not feel confident because you are successful. You become successful because you first feel confident. You do not attract love by waiting to be chosen. You attract it by first embodying the feeling of being deeply loved within. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. When you assume the feeling of already being the best, before any physical evidence exists, you activate the process of manifestation. You align your consciousness with the reality you seek, and through this alignment, circumstances begin to shift. You must persist in this inner conviction, regardless of what your senses tell you. If you allow the external world to dictate your inner state, you remain bound to the limitations of what already exists. But if you dare to live from the end, to imagine yourself as already being the best, already having what you seek, the world must eventually conform. Imagination is the seed of reality. Every great achievement, every innovation, every masterpiece first existed as a thought, a vision, a mental picture. The difference between those who create extraordinary lives and those who remain stuck is simple. The former persist in their imagination until their vision hardens into fact. They refuse to entertain doubts or contradict their assumption with fear. They walk through life with the quiet knowing that their inner world is far more real than anything their eyes currently see. If you wish to transform your reality, you must become disciplined in your imagination. Do not merely hope for success. See yourself as already being the best. Feel the emotions of having arrived. Carry yourself as if you are already in possession of what you desire. This is not pretending, it is a shift in consciousness. You are stepping into a new version of yourself, one that no longer waits for proof, but creates the proof through unwavering conviction. Most people live as prisoners of their current circumstances, unaware that they have the power to rewrite their story. But the truth is, your imagination holds the key to everything you seek. Whatever you consistently dwell upon in your mind becomes your lived experience. Guard your imagination fiercely. Use it intentionally. Assume the feeling of already being the best, and reality will have no choice but to bow to your assumption. Most people live as if the world must first change before they can feel the way they desire. They wait for success before they feel successful, for love before they feel love, for wealth before they feel abundant. But this is the great misunderstanding that keeps them trapped in a cycle of waiting. Reality does not work this way. The outer world does not create your inner state. Your inner state creates your outer world. If you truly want transformation, you must reverse the process. Instead of waiting for proof, you must feel the emotion first. Embody the energy of what you desire as if it were already yours. When you shift your internal state, the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. The law is simple. What you feel, you attract. Consider how most people operate. They say, I will believe in myself once I see success. But the ones who truly succeed, those who rise above limitations, understand that belief must come first. They carry themselves with confidence before the world recognizes them. They embody success long before it materializes. Their energy precedes their outcome, and because of this, reality conforms to their inner conviction. Think of a radio station. If you want to hear a particular frequency, you must tune into it first. You do not demand that the station plays your song before you adjust the dial. You must first align with the correct frequency, and then the sound comes through. Life operates the same way. You must become a vibrational match to your desires before they can manifest in your reality. The mistake many people make is looking to their current circumstances for confirmation. They check their bank account and see lack. They look at their relationships and see loneliness. They judge their present reality and assume it is permanent. But your current reality is only a reflection of your past thoughts and emotions. If you continue to react to what is, you will continue to recreate the same conditions. If instead you shift your inner world, if you feel successful even before recognition arrives, then the world must shift in response. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something false. It is about aligning your energy with the version of you who already has what you seek. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? What emotions would you wake up with? How would you walk? How would you speak? The key is to embody that state now, not later. Most people wait. They wait for signs, for permission, for validation. But those who understand the deeper truth know that feeling comes first and manifestation follows. Energy precedes form. The secret is not in waiting. It is in assuming the state of fulfillment now. If you dare to live from the feeling of already having, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. The greatest obstacle to transformation is not the world around you. It is the version of yourself that you refuse to release. Many people desire change, yet they cling to the very thoughts, beliefs, and habits that keep them bound to their current reality. They want success but continue to entertain doubt. They seek love but hold on to unworthiness. They long for abundance while still thinking from a place of lack. But you cannot bring the old self into a new reality. You must be willing to detach. Your identity, what you assume to be true about yourself, determines everything. If you see yourself as struggling, no amount of effort will create lasting success. If you see yourself as unworthy, no external validation will ever be enough. Transformation is not about forcing the world to change, it is about stepping into a new version of yourself internally and refusing to entertain anything that contradicts it. Imagine a person trapped in a cycle of financial struggle. They say they want abundance, but deep down they believe wealth is difficult to attain. They identify with struggle. Even when opportunities arise, they find ways to sabotage them because their self-concept does not align with financial success. Now, imagine this person shifting their identity. Instead of seeing themselves as someone who tries to be wealthy, they begin to assume the state of wealth itself. They no longer entertain thoughts of struggle. They no longer speak as if money is scarce. They detach from the old version of themselves, and as a result, their reality must shift. Detachment does not mean ignoring your current circumstances. It means no longer allowing them to dictate who you are. The moment you decide that the old version of yourself is no longer relevant, your energy changes. You begin to think, feel, and act in alignment with your new self. And because reality mirrors your state of being, the external world must follow. The mistake many people make is trying to change their lives while still holding on to their old mindset. They affirm wealth, but still feel poor. They visualize love, but still believe they are undeserving. They take action towards success, but still carry the fear of failure. This inner contradiction creates resistance, making true transformation impossible. The key is to commit fully, to step into your new self without hesitation. Ask yourself, what thoughts belong to the old me? What emotions no longer serve me? What assumptions am I ready to release? Then make a decision right now that you will no longer identify with anything that does not serve your highest vision. The world does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. Detach from the old self. Walk as the new version of you. Think, feel, and act in harmony with the life you desire. And as you remain faithful to this new identity, your world will reshape itself to match. Most people believe that success, confidence, and abundance come from external validation, that once they achieve something, then they will finally feel like they have arrived. But this is an illusion. The truth is that reality does not shape your inner state. Your inner state shapes reality. The key is consistency in being. You must embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire, not just for a fleeting moment, but as a way of life. Acting as if you are the best is not about pretending. It is not about putting on a mask or forcing yourself to be something you are not. It is about aligning with your highest self and persisting in that state until the world reflects it back to you. The longer you maintain this frequency, the more reality must conform. Many people get excited about change but quickly revert to their old ways when they don't see immediate results. They affirm abundance one day, then complain about lack the next. They step into confidence for a moment, only to fall back into self-doubt when external validation is absent. This inconsistency weakens their manifestation. The universe responds to persistence. It does not reward wishful thinking or occasional effort. It responds to unwavering conviction. Think of a sculptor shaping a masterpiece. Each chisel, each stroke brings the vision to life. But the form does not appear instantly. The sculptor must persist, continuing to refine even when the final image is not yet visible. Your transformation is the same. You may not see immediate changes, but that does not mean they are not occurring. The longer you remain in alignment with your new self, the stronger its presence becomes in your reality. This is why many fail. They allow their senses to dictate their belief. They look at their current circumstances and let them determine how they feel. If success has not yet shown itself, they assume it is not coming. But those who understand the deeper truth remain steadfast. They do not need external proof to maintain their inner state. They know that who they are being now is what determines what they will experience next. Ask yourself, If I were already the best, how would I carry myself? How would I think, feel, and act every single day? The key is to remain in that state, unwavering. Do not let fear or doubt shake you. Do not allow temporary setbacks to convince you that change is not happening. Every thought, every action, every emotion must be in alignment with your chosen self. Most people give up before the shift is complete. They break their consistency, reverting to old patterns. But if you persist, if you continue being the person who already has what you seek, then the world must eventually reflect it. Reality has no choice but to match your dominant state. Hold the vision, maintain the feeling, stay unwavering in your embodiment of the best version of yourself. Be consistent in being, and transformation is inevitable. Most people live in reaction to the world around them. They look at their circumstances and allow them to dictate what they believe is possible. If they see success, they feel successful. If they see failure, they feel defeated. If the world offers no proof of change, they assume change is impossible. But this is the great misunderstanding that keeps them trapped. The world is not the cause, it is the effect. It is a mirror, reflecting back the assumptions you hold within. If you wait for evidence before you believe in your new self, you will wait forever. Transformation does not happen by seeking proof first. It happens by believing in your new self before the world confirms it. Faith must come before sight. If you accept something as true in your imagination and persist in that belief, the world has no choice but to conform. Reality is always catching up to the assumptions you hold most consistently. This is why so many people struggle to change. They begin with excitement, affirming their new self, visualizing their success, and feeling inspired. But when they look around and see no immediate shift, doubt creeps in. They tell themselves, maybe this isn't working, maybe nothing is changing. And because they allow the lack of external evidence to shake their belief, they fall back into their old state. In doing so, they unknowingly reaffirm the very reality they are trying to escape. The ones who truly transform their lives are those who refuse to let the outside world dictate their inner world. They remain steadfast in their belief, even when nothing seems to be happening. They hold their vision even when the evidence is absent. They understand that just because something has not yet appeared does not mean it is not on its way. Consider a seed planted in the soil. For days, even weeks, nothing appears above the surface. If you judged based on sight alone, you might assume that nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the seed is taking root. It is growing, expanding, preparing to emerge. The same is true for your reality. Just because you do not see immediate results does not mean your belief is in vain. Your assumptions are taking root. Your new self is forming. The world will catch up, but only if you remain faithful to your inner vision. Faith over evidence means making a decision. I will believe in my new self no matter what appears before me. It means refusing to entertain doubts, refusing to give in to fear, refusing to waver. It means knowing that the unseen is just as real as the seen, and that what you accept as true within must eventually take shape without. If you persist, reality must bend. The world cannot help but reflect back to you what you assume to be true. But the test is whether you will hold your faith long enough for the shift to happen. Believe first, and the evidence will come. The power to transform your life does not lie in waiting for circumstances to change. It lies in changing yourself first. Your vibration shapes your reality. Your imagination plants the seeds of your future, and your unwavering faith ensures its manifestation. The world is not separate from you. It is a reflection of what you consistently assume to be true. Acting as if you are the best is not about pretending. It is about embodying the highest version of yourself right now, not someday, not when conditions are perfect, but in this very moment. The longer you persist in this state, the more the world must conform. Do not waver when the evidence is not yet visible. Do not revert to your old self when challenges arise. Detach from limiting beliefs, remain steadfast in your new identity, and hold your inner vision without compromise. Reality bends to those who refuse to be shaken by appearances. Those who persist in faith without needing proof will see their assumptions crystallize into form. Be the person you wish to become now. Walk as if, think as if, feel as if. When you commit fully, when you hold the state without hesitation, the world will have no choice but to catch up. Thank you. There is a strange yet profound secret hidden in the art of manifestation, one that few grasp. Yet it governs all creation. It is this: the moment you truly let go, the thing you seek rushes to you. It is not through force, not through desperate striving, but through the quiet certainty that it is already yours. Consider the seed buried in the earth. The farmer does not dig it up each day to see if it is growing. He does not beg the soil to produce a harvest. He knows with unwavering faith that nature will fulfill its promise. So too must you plant your desires in the rich soil of your imagination and trust that the unseen forces will bring them forth in their perfect time. When you hold on too tightly, you send a message of lack. You declare to the universe that you do not believe in the certainty of your own creation. But when you let go, when you assume its reality and release all need to chase, it must appear. This is the paradox: desire without attachment, belief without grasping. You are not to run after your desires as though they are distant from you. Instead, you are to assume the state of the one who already possesses them. You do not beg for what is already yours. You do not plead for the air you breathe, nor do you chase the sun to ensure it rises. Likewise, you must walk with a quiet confidence that what you have imagined is already unfolding. The moment you stop asking when, how, or if, the unseen forces move mountains on your behalf. What is it that you seek? Wealth, love, success, peace? See it done, feel it as real, and then let go. Trust in the power that governs all things. The instant you release the desperate need to control, you will find it flowing effortlessly into your life. The greatest obstacle to receiving what you desire is the act of chasing it. The more you run after something, the more you confirm to yourself and to the unseen forces that it is missing from your life. You reinforce the belief that you do not already have it, and this very state of wanting keeps it out of reach. True creation does not come from struggle, nor does it arise from desperate attempts to manipulate circumstances. It emerges from a quiet, unshakable knowing, a certainty that what you seek is already yours. When you assume the reality of your desire without anxiety or doubt, you align yourself with the unseen forces that bring all things into being. Imagine a person who longs for love, but constantly obsesses over whether they will ever find it. They search endlessly, analyze every interaction, and feel restless in their solitude. In doing so, they send out the message that love is missing, that it is something external they must pursue. Their very longing pushes it further away, because their state of mind is one of lack, not fulfillment. But contrast this with someone who walks through life with the quiet confidence that love is already theirs. They do not chase, they do not grasp. They embody the state of one who is already loved, already whole. And because of this, love flows to them effortlessly. This principle applies to all things: money, success, peace, or any other desire. When you cling to a wish with desperation, you unknowingly affirm its absence. Your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions vibrate at the frequency of, "I do not have this." And so the world reflects that back to you. But when you assume it is already yours, when you feel the reality of it as though it were present now, your world must shift to accommodate this new belief. Consider the nature of breath. You do not hold on to each inhale in fear that there will not be another. You trust the natural rhythm of life, knowing that as soon as you release, the next breath comes effortlessly. This is the same way manifestation works. When you let go of the need to control, to chase, to demand, you create space for the very thing you desire to flow into your experience. People often mistake detachment for indifference, but they are not the same. Detachment does not mean giving up on your desires. It means releasing the fear that they may not come. It means stepping into the state of already having, rather than waiting for an external event to grant it to you. If you desire wealth, do not spend your days lamenting your lack of it. Instead, embody the mindset of abundance. Carry yourself as one who is financially free. Feel gratitude as though it were already yours. This is not about pretending or mere wishful thinking. It is about knowing that creation is finished, that what you have imagined exists in an unseen form and is making its way to you. You do not need to beg for it, chase it, or worry about when it will arrive. You need only to rest in the certainty that it is already yours. When you stop chasing, you become magnetic. When you stop begging, you begin receiving. You must ask yourself, am I living in the state of having or in the state of wanting? Because the state in which you dwell determines the reality you will experience. Shift from longing to knowing, from grasping to allowing. And when you do, you will find that what once seemed distant is suddenly drawn to you with ease. The very act of holding on too tightly to an outcome often pushes it further away. This is the paradox at the heart of creation, the law of reversal. The harder you try to control reality, the more it resists. The more you chase something, the more you affirm that it is not yet yours. But the moment you release, the moment you detach and trust, reality bends in your favor. This is because clinging is rooted in fear. It carries the silent but powerful message that you do not trust life to bring you what is already yours. When you desperately hold on to a desire, watching every sign, analyzing every detail, and fearing its absence, you are not living in the state of having. You are living in the state of lacking. And so, by the very nature of consciousness, lack is what is reflected back to you. Think of water cupped in your hands. If you squeeze too tightly, it slips through your fingers. But when you relax your hands, the water remains. The same is true with anything you desire. The moment you stop forcing, the moment you let go of your grip, what you seek is free to flow toward you. Detachment is not about giving up on your dreams. It is about allowing them to unfold naturally. It is knowing that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and that your desires are not outside of you, but already a part of your unfolding reality. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you assume the state of already having, and from that place actions flow effortlessly. Imagine two individuals. One is obsessed with achieving success, constantly worrying about when and how it will come. They live in a state of tension, overanalyzing every step, fearing that if they relax, everything will fall apart. The other knows their success is inevitable. They move with ease, trusting that their vision is already fulfilled, taking inspired action without desperation. Who do you think will experience success more naturally? The one who trusts, who moves without grasping, who does not let fear dictate their actions. This is the great reversal. When you no longer need something, it comes. When you stop chasing love, it finds you. When you stop worrying about money, opportunities appear. When you release control, life rearranges itself to meet your highest assumption. The unseen forces move in perfect harmony when you stop interfering with doubt and fear. People often resist this truth because they believe effort equals results. They think if they do not push, they will not receive. But true effort is not about struggle. It is about alignment. The strongest force is the one that is centered, unwavering in its certainty. A person who trusts does not rush, does not beg, does not force. They allow. Detachment is the ultimate act of faith. It is the silent confidence that everything is already working in your favor, even if you cannot yet see it. It is the understanding that control is an illusion, and that by letting go, you give space for greater things to unfold. So, what are you gripping too tightly? What fear is making you chase instead of receive? The moment you recognize that clinging repels and detachment attracts, you will step into a new way of being, one where life flows effortlessly toward you, and all that is yours comes with ease. Your imagination is not a mere tool for fantasy. It is the very substance of reality itself. What you consistently hold in your consciousness with certainty must externalize into your world. Every experience you encounter, every condition you face, is nothing more than the outpicturing of what has been impressed upon your inner world. The great mistake many make is believing that the external world is separate from their inner reality, when in truth the world around you is simply a mirror reflecting the state of your consciousness. When you imagine something with conviction, when you feel it as real within you, it must take form. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it a matter of chance. It is law. What is seen originates from what is unseen. Everything you have ever experienced first existed as an unseen reality within the mind of someone, whether consciously or unconsciously. The home you live in, the chair you sit on, the device in your hands, each of these was first an idea, an image held in consciousness before it materialized into the physical world. But here is where so many falter. Instead of holding their desires in imagination with unwavering faith, they beg, they plead, they force, and in doing so they contradict their belief in its presence. The one who begs for something affirms that they do not have it. The one who pleads from a place of desperation declares to themselves and the universe that their desire is separate from them. And the one who forces outcomes through sheer effort is acting from doubt, not faith. These actions only reinforce the very state they wish to escape. Contrast this with the one who understands the power of imagination. They do not beg, for they know it is already theirs. They do not plead, for they feel the reality of their desire within them. They do not force, for they trust the natural unfolding of events. They rest in the assurance that what is real within must become real without. They understand that the unseen world of thought, feeling, and belief is the only true reality, and that the physical world is merely a reflection of it. This is why so many fail to manifest what they want. They imagine for a moment, then quickly fall back into doubt. They look to the outer world for proof before they believe, not realizing that belief must come first. They shift between faith and fear, between certainty and anxiety, and in doing so they create nothing but delay and confusion. But the one who remains steadfast, who assumes the feeling of their wish fulfilled and does not waver, will see their inner vision harden into fact. Imagination requires no external validation. It does not ask for permission. It does not depend on circumstances. The moment you accept something as true in your consciousness, it begins to move toward you. Your only task is to remain loyal to that inner knowing, to refuse to be swayed by appearances, and to persist in the assumption that what you desire is already a living reality within you. So ask yourself, are you living from the state of already having, or from the state of lack? Are you imagining with certainty, or are you allowing doubt to erode your vision? The choice is always yours. And the moment you choose to believe in the unseen more than the seen, the moment you stop begging and start knowing, your world will shift to reflect your certainty. It is law. It cannot fail. Manifestation is not about wishing, hoping, or waiting. It is about feeling. Feeling is the gateway through which the unseen becomes seen, through which the formless takes shape. The world around you is nothing more than a reflection of the state of being you occupy, and that state is determined by feeling. When you embody the feeling of already having your desire, manifestation flows effortlessly, for you have aligned yourself with its reality. Most people misunderstand this principle. They believe they must first see evidence in the external world before they can feel a sense of having. They wait for circumstances to change before allowing themselves to feel abundant, loved, successful, or at peace. But this is the great reversal of cause and effect. The outer world does not create your inner state. Your inner state creates the outer world. To manifest what you desire, you must feel it as real before it appears. You must claim it within yourself first, without waiting for permission from reality. Think of the last time you experienced deep joy or love. It was not something external that created the feeling. It was your perception of the experience that generated it. The same applies to manifestation. You are not creating something new. You are selecting an experience from the infinite field of possibilities by dwelling in the feeling of already having it. The moment you shift your state of being, the world begins to rearrange itself in response. But here is where so many stumble. They obsess over how their desire will come. They watch for signs. They analyze every movement of reality. They ask themselves if they are doing enough, and in doing so, they unknowingly affirm that their desire is separate from them, that it is something yet to be attained, rather than something already existing within their consciousness. This attachment to the how only breeds doubt and resistance. The truth is, you do not need to know how. You only need to know that it is done. Imagine a gardener planting a seed. He does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He does not worry about how the soil will transform it into a plant. He trusts the process, knowing that as long as he nurtures it, the growth is inevitable. Your desires function the same way. The moment you plant the seed of fulfillment in your imagination, your only task is to rest in the certainty that it is already growing, already unfolding, already on its way. To do this, you must discipline your mind to remain in the state of already having. When doubt creeps in, do not entertain it. When appearances suggest otherwise, do not be swayed. Reality will always reflect your dominant state of being, but there is a delay between assumption and manifestation. This is where most people give up. They waver, they question, they allow external conditions to dictate their belief. But the ones who persist, who remain steadfast in the feeling of already having, are the ones who experience effortless manifestation. It is not enough to visualize a desire, it must be felt. You must breathe it, live it, embody it, as if it were already part of your existence. If you desire wealth, do not focus on the absence of it. Feel the security, the freedom, the ease of already being abundant. If you desire love, do not dwell in loneliness. Feel the warmth, the connection, the joy of already being deeply loved. If you desire success, do not agonize over when it will come. Walk, speak, and think from the knowing that it is already yours. This is not pretense. It is not about acting or pretending. It is about shifting your inner reality so completely that the outer world has no choice but to conform. When you master the art of feeling as if it is done, the struggle ceases. The need to control disappears, and what once seemed distant is drawn to you effortlessly, as naturally as the tide follows the moon. There is a power beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what logic can grasp. It is always at work, orchestrating events, shifting circumstances, and aligning the right people, places, and moments to bring forth what you hold in your consciousness. This is not chance. This is not coincidence. It is the movement of unseen forces responding to the state of being you assume. The moment you release attachment, the moment you stop grasping and start trusting, these forces begin to work in your favor, rearranging reality itself to bring you what is already yours. Most people struggle with this because they rely too much on the physical senses. They believe only in what they can see, hear, and touch. They measure progress by external evidence, constantly checking for signs that their desires are manifesting. But the more they look outward for confirmation, the more they reaffirm their doubt. They unknowingly declare that what they desire is still absent, and so absence is what continues to be reflected in their world. The key to unlocking the power of unseen forces is trust, deep, unwavering trust. When you trust, you no longer need proof. You do not micromanage reality or question whether things are moving. You know they are. Even if nothing seems to be happening, even if circumstances appear unchanged, you remain unshaken. You understand that the visible world is always a step behind the unseen. By the time something materializes, the process has long been underway. Think of planting a seed in the soil. You do not see the roots forming beneath the surface, but you trust that they are growing. You do not stand over the seed in frustration, demanding it to sprout immediately. You allow nature to do its work, knowing that at the right time the plant will break through the surface. This is how unseen forces operate in your life. Once you have set a clear intention, once you have assumed the feeling of already having, Your only task is to let go and trust that all things are being arranged for you. Releasing attachment does not mean giving up on your desire. It means no longer needing it to feel complete. It means shifting from desperation to quiet confidence, from anxious waiting to calm knowing. When you release, you create space. You step out of the way and allow the forces of creation to move without interference. You no longer block the flow with doubt, worry, or control. You surrender. Not in weakness, but in certainty. Many have experienced this in moments of surrender. They spend months or years trying to force an outcome, growing frustrated when nothing happens. But the moment they give up, the moment they stop caring so much, things suddenly shift. The job offer comes. The person they longed for reaches out. The opportunity appears as if out of nowhere. Why? Because by letting go, they removed the resistance that was keeping it at bay. The unseen forces were always at work, but their attachment was blocking the flow. Reality is fluid. It is shaped by consciousness, molded by assumption, and directed by trust. When you release attachment, reality bends in your favor. It shifts in ways that seem miraculous, yet are completely natural. The right doors open, often in ways you could not have planned. The people, opportunities, and circumstances you need arrive effortlessly, without struggle. It feels as if life itself is guiding you, and in truth it is. So, do not concern yourself with how things will happen. Do not burden yourself with timelines or worry about whether you are doing enough. Your role is to assume the feeling of already having and to trust the unseen forces to handle the rest. The moment you truly let go, the moment you rest in the knowing that it is done, the universe will move in ways you could never predict, bringing you everything that was always meant to be yours. Receiving is an art, yet most people do not know how to receive. They believe they must fight, struggle, and chase after what they desire, unaware that this very effort pushes it further away. True receiving does not come from force, it comes from alignment. It comes from understanding that what you seek is already seeking you, and the only thing required is to make space for it by letting go of resistance. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many think it means giving up, resigning, or losing interest in their desires. But detachment is not about abandoning what you want. It is about releasing the grip of desperation that keeps it out of reach. It is about shifting from a mindset of lack to one of certainty, from seeking to allowing. When you truly detach, you do not give up on your desires. You simply stop blocking their arrival. Imagine a clenched fist holding onto something tightly. The more force applied, the more tension is created. Nothing can enter that closed grip. But the moment the hand relaxes, it becomes open to receive. This is the energy of detachment. When you let go of grasping, you create space. And in that space, what was once struggling to reach you is finally able to flow in effortlessly. Most people struggle with receiving because they are caught in a cycle of control. They want to dictate how and when things should happen. They analyze, question, and doubt, unknowingly reinforcing the belief that what they want is still absent. They chase their desires, believing that movement equals progress, but chasing only affirms separation. It keeps the thing desired at a distance. The moment you stop chasing is the moment it begins to move toward you. Look at your own life. Think of the times when things seemed to fall into place effortlessly, when the perfect opportunity appeared just when you needed it, when someone you were thinking about suddenly reached out, when a desire you once longed for arrived the moment you stopped worrying about it. These are not coincidences. They are reflections of a deep universal truth, that receiving is a state of being, not an act of doing. To receive, you must trust. Trust that what is meant for you is already on its way. Trust that the unseen forces of creation are arranging everything in divine order. This does not mean sitting idly or doing nothing. It means acting from a place of faith rather than fear. It means embodying the energy of already having rather than waiting for external proof. It means walking as if the desire is fulfilled, speaking as if it is done, and feeling as if it is already yours. If you desire love, do not seek it from a place of loneliness. Feel the presence of love in your life now. If you desire wealth, do not affirm lack by worrying about money. Instead, embody the ease and security of abundance. If you desire success, do not chase after recognition or validation. Live in the knowing that success is already woven into your being. This is the energy of receiving, one of quiet confidence rather than anxious pursuit. The paradox is this: the moment you let go, you make room for what you desire to come in. You stop interfering with the process. You step out of your own way. You move from forcing to flowing, from resisting to allowing. What was once a distant wish transforms into a present reality, not because you pushed for it, but because you aligned with it. So, release the need to chase. Release the need to struggle. Instead, hold the feeling of already having and trust in the timing of the unseen. What you seek is seeking you. Allow it in. Everything you desire is already within reach, not because you must chase it, force it, or struggle for it, but because it is already yours in consciousness. The moment you release attachment, the moment you stop grasping and trust in the unseen forces at work, reality moves in your favor. Clinging repels, detachment attracts. The more you hold on in desperation, the more you affirm its absence. But when you relax into certainty, when you assume the feeling of already having, you create the space for manifestation to flow effortlessly into your life. You do not need to beg, plead, or wonder how it will happen. You need only to rest in the knowing that it is done. What you seek is seeking you, and your only task is to align with it. Not through force, but through faith. Let go, trust, and allow. In doing so, you step into the effortless unfolding of everything meant for you. Thank you. There comes a moment in every life where the illusion of struggle, waiting, and hoping must end. That moment is now. You have spent years searching, striving, questioning when your breakthrough will come. But here is the truth. Nothing outside of you holds the key. It has been in your hands all along. The world you see is merely a reflection of what you have been assuming, believing, and accepting as real. But what if I told you that in this very instant, you could step into a new reality? Your turning point is not in the future. It is not something you must work towards or earn. It is now. Close your eyes and strip away every limitation you have ever placed upon yourself. For a moment, let go of the doubts, the fears, the excuses. Who would you be if you knew that nothing stood in your way? What would your life look like if you accepted without hesitation that you are already the person you wish to become? You do not need permission. You do not need more time. The only thing required is a shift in how you see yourself. Decide right now. I am no longer the person who struggles. I am no longer waiting. My desires are already mine. And when you rise from this moment, carry this knowing with you. Walk as if your prayers have already been answered. Speak as if the world is already reflecting your new state. Feel deep in your bones that you have already arrived. This is your turning point. And once you cross this threshold, there is no going back. Everything you see around you, every circumstance, every relationship, every success or failure is nothing more than a reflection of what you have accepted as true. Your current reality is not set in stone. It is not a rigid, unchangeable fact, but a living, breathing projection of your past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. For too long, people have believed that life happens to them, that circumstances are beyond their control, and that they are at the mercy of fate. But this could not be further from the truth. The world you see is not separate from you. It is you expressed outwardly. Every experience you are having is a result of the thoughts you have consistently held in mind, whether consciously or unconsciously. This means that nothing you face today is permanent, because just as it was created through past assumptions, it can be reshaped by new ones. If you want to know what you have been believing about yourself, look around. Your external life is simply the echo of your internal state. The relationships you attract, the opportunities that come or do not come, the level of success or struggle you experience, these are not random. They are the natural consequences of the assumptions you have entertained over time. You may not have realized it, but every thought, every feeling, every deeply held conviction has been constructing the reality you now occupy. Many people feel trapped in their current circumstances, believing that change is difficult or that they must wait for external factors to shift before their lives can improve. But this is an illusion. The moment you shift your inner state, your external world must follow. It has no choice. The outer world is simply a mirror. It cannot reflect anything that is not first assumed within. If you continue to carry the same beliefs, the same assumptions, and the same inner conversations, you will continue to see the same results. But the instant you decide to change your inner world, your outer world begins to transform as well. The shift does not have to be dramatic. You do not need to struggle to make things happen. You do not need to force the outside world to change. The only thing required is a change in consciousness, a deliberate assumption that the reality you desire is already yours. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law of life. Assume a new state of being, and reality will rearrange itself to match. Perhaps you have experienced this before. Have you ever noticed that when you feel confident and at ease, opportunities seem to flow effortlessly into your life? Or that when you expect difficulties, they appear almost as if summoned? This is no coincidence. The state you occupy, whether of confidence or doubt, abundance or lack, love or loneliness, determines what you experience in the external world. Now understand this. You are not bound by anything you see today. The financial struggles, the relationship challenges, the career setbacks, these are all temporary reflections of past assumptions. The moment you let go of the old beliefs that created them and embrace new ones, your world must shift. Do not be deceived by appearances. They may seem solid, but they are no more real than the reflections in a mirror. If you do not like what you see, do not attempt to fight or change the reflection directly. Change the source. Change your inner state. And watch as the world moves to accommodate the new you. This is your power. This is your freedom. Nothing in your life is permanent unless you accept it as such. Right now, in this moment, you can decide to assume something new. You can claim a new reality. You can declare that you are already the person you wish to be, that your desires are already fulfilled, and that the life you long for is already yours. And as surely as the sun rises, your world will shift to match. At any given moment, you are only one thought away from an entirely new life. The life you are living now, the circumstances you see before you, the challenges you believe you face, these are not immovable forces. They are simply the result of the thoughts and beliefs you have entertained up until this point. And just as your past thoughts have created your present reality, your next thought has the power to create a completely new experience. Most people believe that change is difficult, that transformation requires years of effort, struggle, or external intervention. But this is a false belief, one that keeps them locked in cycles of delay and frustration. The truth is, change is instant. The moment you shift your perception, the moment you decide to accept a new reality as true, your world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. Nothing outside of you has the power to keep you stuck. Only your attachment to old assumptions, to old states of being, holds you in place. Your reality is not created by external conditions. It is not shaped by circumstances, by other people, or by luck. It is shaped by the consciousness you inhabit. The way you see yourself, the thoughts you repeatedly dwell upon, and the feelings you allow yourself to experience determine what unfolds in your life. If you continue to assume the same things, if you continue to think the same way, you will continue to experience the same reality. But if you dare to think differently, if you step into a new assumption, everything must change. Consider for a moment the person you wish to be, the life you long to live, the success, the love, the freedom you desire. What if you could step into that reality right now? What if, instead of waiting for proof, instead of questioning how or when, you simply assumed it to be true? What if you made the decision in this very moment to see yourself as already having arrived. This is the power of consciousness. The instant you decide to embody a new mindset, you are no longer the same person. And because the external world is only a reflection of the inner, it must shift to reflect this new state. But so many hesitate. They believe they must first see change before they can accept it as real. They look to the world for validation, for confirmation that their new state is possible, and in doing so they remain trapped in their old reality. The world cannot show you a change until you first assume it internally. The mirror cannot reflect a new image until you first present it with one. So right now you stand at the threshold. The choice is yours. You can continue to hold on to the old beliefs, the old identity, the old limitations that have kept you where you are. Or you can make a decision, one simple, powerful decision, to step into a new state of being. This does not require effort. It does not require struggle. It requires only that you assume, fully and completely, that you are already the person you wish to be, that the life you desire is already yours, that all the limitations, all the obstacles, all the delays are illusions that vanish the moment you refuse to accept them as real. What you accept as true becomes your experience. What you assume about yourself determines what manifests in your world. And in this very moment, you have the power to assume something new. Do not wait for the world to change. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect, for circumstances to align. The only thing that must align is your mind. The only thing that must change is your assumption. And the moment you decide, fully, completely, without hesitation, that you are already the version of yourself you have longed to become, your reality must follow. One thought, one decision, that is all it takes. Your imagination is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Everything you have ever experienced, everything you are living now, and everything you will encounter in the future is shaped first within the realm of your mind. The images you hold, the thoughts you entertain, and the assumptions you persist in believing are actively forming your reality. Most people live under the illusion that life is something that happens to them, that circumstances arise independently of their own thoughts and feelings. They believe that success, love, or happiness are things to be pursued in the external world. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works. The truth is, nothing comes into being without first existing in imagination. What you imagine with conviction, what you believe to be real in your inner world, must inevitably manifest in the outer world. Think of the greatest inventions, the most profound works of art, the most revolutionary ideas that have shaped history. They all began as an image in someone's mind before they became tangible. The same is true for your life. Every success, every failure, every experience is the direct result of what you have previously imagined and accepted as true. If you look around at your current circumstances and find things you do not like, understand that they are not fixed. They are simply the byproducts of past imaginings, and just as they were created, they can be replaced. The moment you take control of your imagination and consciously direct it toward what you desire, you begin to reshape your future. But here lies the greatest mistake people make. They wait for proof. They refuse to believe in their desires until they see evidence in the external world. They wait for a sign, for confirmation, for something outside of themselves to validate their new assumption. And in doing so, they remain trapped in their old reality. Your belief is the only proof required. You do not need to see physical evidence before you accept something as true. In fact, the moment you demand proof, you are affirming the absence of your desire. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you assume to be real. If you persist in imagining something with conviction, without doubt and without the need for external validation, it must take shape in your life. This is not wishful thinking. This is not daydreaming or idle fantasy. This is the fundamental law of creation. What you hold in your mind with certainty must eventually harden into fact. The process is simple. Close your eyes and see yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the reality of it. Live in that state mentally as if it were already done. Do this consistently with unwavering belief, and reality will conform. It has no choice. The world may tell you otherwise. It may tell you that change takes time, that success requires effort, that circumstances are beyond your control. But you must refuse to accept these falsehoods. The only thing that determines your reality is what you persist in imagining. Stop waiting for proof. Stop looking to the world for confirmation. The power is within you, and it has been there all along. The moment you decide to believe in your vision with absolute certainty, without hesitation, without doubt, the wheels of creation begin turning. Everything you have ever wanted is already within you, waiting to be assumed, waiting to be believed. The moment you accept it as true in your imagination, you have claimed it. And once claimed internally, it must appear externally. Your imagination is the blueprint of your destiny. What you imagine with conviction, you will live.